you a cannabis grower who knows what they're doing? Are you looking for a one-stop shop for all things cannabis lighting? Then check out DutchLightingInnovations.com. On our website, you can learn more about our newest UV technology, which allows us to grow stronger, even better terpene profiles while reducing microbial growth. DutchLightingInnovations.com has all your lighting needs, from HPS to CMH to LED and UV. Lights of the highest quality for growers who know what they're doing. Designed, engineered, and made in Holland. Your one-stop shop for all things cannabis, DutchLightingInnovations.com. You can learn more about our newest UV technology. At DLI, we have decades in experience in both commercial and hobby horticulture. As a result, our engineers have developed a brand new range of horticultural lighting products that combine with the tried and tested manufacturing techniques of the existing commercial lighting products with a modern manufacturing process. As a result, we've created a comprehensive line of horticultural lighting products that are designed to enhance user experience and produce better results. That's DutchLightingInnovations.com.
All throughout history, the term stoner has been used a lot. In common usage, it refers to the guilty, the derelict, and the unsavory. The Oxford Dictionary redefines stoned as a state where you have lost your ability to behave or think normally caused by a drug like marijuana or alcohol. I find that to be unacceptable. Welcome to the Daily Chronicles. Here we talk to different types of stoners from all walks of life. So roll up, load up your bongs, ready up that dab, and tune in as we speak the truth about the stigma. This is the Daily Chronicles.
Smokers and smokers, welcome back to another edition of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. My guest this week is the author of The Huntress. Y'all give it up for USA Today Bestseller, Theresa Hissong. What up, girl? Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
How are you?
Thank you for coming on. I'm, better now that we're take two of this. Take one, we tried it with Zoom. Zoom sucks. Here we are.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like, or not feel like, in high
Let's try it
school,
again.
you were worried about, living off the land. You know, you mentioned Grandpappy along the way told you you need to learn to live off the land.
Yeah.
And so bringing some importance for that, forward, like I can only imagine, later in your teen years, it probably wasn't easy.
No, and I was actually very, boys were a little intimidated by me because I could out hunt them. I could outshoot them. I could out trap them. I could outfish them. So yeah, finding a boyfriend in my later years was a little rough. But my grandfather taught me a lot about how, life was not going to be as easy as the commercials for the grocery store were showing you on TV. He said, you're not always going to be able to have those things. So he taught me how to grow food, harvest food, hunt for food. Even down to my grandmother, bless her heart, she taught me how to make meals and can them and put them up, for storage and things like that. And that's just something that I really, I think, kind of honed who I am and keeps me real.
I think it creates a sense of fealty to, moving forward. What I mean by that is there comes a point in time where we do things for a reason, be it survivalism, be it pride in some cases.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about a professional and an amateur earlier, and it's interesting because a lot of professionals have amateur tactics or have something amateur about them. For example, every professional chef has their flaws.
every, you know, that you've ever heard of, you know, be it,
Oh yeah.
you know, we've heard about a few. Mario Batali in his case, you know, and stuff
Yeah.
that's going
Yeah.
down, you know, there that went down there, God forbid, but it happened.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have good tendencies like, you know, this person will all, yeah, they'll charge you $1,500 a plate, but you're technically buying, you know, all of these charities too. So it's like, you know, take it what you
Yeah.
got. But the difference between an amateur and a professional is a amateur is trying time and time again just to get it right, whereas a professional
Yeah.
can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
And
who's
I
failed
agree with
more?
that. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, yeah. But you have to fail to succeed,
I think
you know.
failure, the way that I see
Yeah.
the word fail, is a first attempt in learning.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, I mean, no matter what we've tried to do, even riding a bike, we've failed. I don't know if anybody who at the young age of, you know, whatever it was, they started riding a bike without training wheels, that they didn't fall down.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
you ask
it's
anybody
very,
who
yeah.
ran and told their friends at that point in time, be like, hey, little Rodney, did you fall on
Oh,
your
yeah.
bike? No, man, I did it first try. Horse shit. We
Oh,
can
yeah.
see your bloody knees through your jeans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to be a professional, even whatever stage they're at, beginning, you know, amateur, or even, you know, up to professional. And even professionals don't realize that they are professionals.
I think it's something that haphazardly happens, you know, for some professionals. However, you know, let's talk about, you know, the US Today bestseller. That's a moniker that's
Yeah.
not easy. That doesn't just happen. You put in some work.
No. Yeah.
You know, fill me in up to that. Like, how did that happen? How did
God.
that come to be?
So, I started writing, God, like 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Published my first book in 2013. Went through some changes in my life. I actually deleted 15 books. I published a total of 55 books in my entire career, but the first 15 books, I threw them out, started over, and started writing a book series that took off. And then I started getting opportunities to do this and that, and people were, you know, contacting me because of how well I was writing and everything. And I ended up a year ago, October 20th. So October 20th of 2021, I had contributed a story to an anthology that you know, the weeks leading up to the release is I'm getting emails from my publisher, and they're like, the sales are looking good, the pre-sales are looking good. Actually, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we had already gotten the orange banner on Amazon saying #1, and then the day it released, Amazon put us on as there's a #1 in category, and then there's a #1 new release orange band they put. I don't know if you guys have noticed on Amazon, but when the week's releases, when it's the highest selling thing, you get a #1 new release. And I was like, heck yeah. I mean, I had hit #1 on Amazon 7 times already. And I was like, hey, great, you know, this one's doing really good. And then as the week progressed, you went from so you had to wait a whole week's worth of sales, and then on Wednesday of the following week is when they released the USA Today. And I think on Monday, I got an email from my publisher, and she said, Theresa, this is it. She said, I don't have confirmation, but please watch the list when it comes out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And I was like, okay. Well, before I could even wake up, she had already emailed me and said, you did it. You're number 79 on the USA Today bestseller list out of all books sold in the world, in the United States.
Yeah.
It's number 79. And then I started looking, and I scrolled down, and like number 97, 96, 98, whatever, was a Harry Potter book. And I told you this before. I literally fell on my knees and like boohoo cried like a baby, because that was like the one thing that I needed to check off my bucket list. I'm a big bucket list person, but that was like, I just want to hit it one time. I don't care about anything else. I just want to hit it. And the fact that I beat a rolling book absolutely floored me. Because I thought, okay, so they, it's the list is 1 through 150.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, if we come in at 149, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I hit it, but to be 79, I mean, that's amazing. It's
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah. And it was a changing point in my life, and it has opened up so many doors for me.
Do you think so? And it's interesting that you and I have talked many times, and before you had mentioned that you always make the habit of mentioning. Sorry, I should say. You live a weird life. You live a peculiar life. You're like, I live a strange life, and in
Do,
some
do,
some perspectives
do.
that is true, but I don't think that weird is. I think you live an abnormal life, perhaps, but I don't think that weird is
Yeah.
the direct.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, abnormal
Yeah, I
maybe.
use weird because a lot of people say weird, but yes, you are right. It's very I'm not only a USA Today bestselling author,
Hmm.
where I write many, many books a year, but I'm also a tour manager for a rock band.
Hmm.
Nice hat, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
So, but yeah, so yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I kind of twilight, I guess you would say,
Mhm.
or part time tour manage a rock band. So, yeah, and
You
people are
can't
like, that's
write that
really,
in
it's such a
movies.
no, no, and it's crazy, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I have a lot of people who write about rock star, like fiction rock star stuff, who do contact me and want, ask questions like, may I ask you, I need to, make sure this is right. Because you don't want to write anything into your book, obviously, that's going to
Right.
sound stupid or it was wrong. But yeah, so I write part of the year, and the other part of the year, I manage a group of 5 amazing men who make great music.
Hmm. For those of you who
And I
don't
think I hear
know,
them in the background.
yeah, yeah, I was just about to say, this is their latest
Yeah.
album, Reflections. If you don't have it,
Yes.
go pick it up and just check out artifice.com for everything. There's your
Yeah.
shameless plug, y'all.
Yeah. There.
Love you,
Yeah,
boys.
that's yeah, my best friends and yes, I love them to death, and I wouldn't be doing what I was doing with them if I didn't believe in them. And that's one thing, I believe in people. And if I believe in you, I'm going to support you.
It's good to have someone believe in you. It's a good feeling. It's not something that a lot of people do. B, it's not something that a lot of people appreciate
Yeah.
and are grateful for. And I can list off at least 5 people right now, maybe
Yeah.
6 or 7 that are grateful for what you do. And let's face it, man. Because of those assholes doing what they do, you
Oh, thank you.
half of interesting, if you know. So I'm just kidding, but
Yeah.
I look at it this way.
No,
Well,
no,
think
no.
about it. Like
Yeah.
on their end, like they have a best-selling author as their tour manager. That's dope as shit. If they ever want like biographies, it's like, yo, could you do this? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess so. On top of the 10,000 other things I'm doing, but yeah, sure, why not? Just kidding. But
Yeah. Yeah, I am honestly like we go on tour, for 6, 8 weeks,
mhm.
come home for 6 weeks. I'm like busting out books, trying to write, doing all this stuff and still trying to like manage for the next tour and all that stuff. And I love it though.
Mhm.
I don't like being, I don't, I have to have something to do. So this kind of helps. And hanging out with my best friends and touring the country really just is kind of like the icing on the cake. It's fun.
So,
I mean, it's stressful. Don't get me
well,
wrong.
yeah.
But at the, yeah, it's fun.
There is something we talked about earlier that I wanted to make sure that we brought up, and you said something to me, and I
Okay.
really wish that they could make it to it, but make it to this cut. But you said that any chance that you get, you always make sure you can stick a hook in the water, and then the reason that you did
Oh,
that,
oh yeah. We're talking about fishing. Yeah.
fishing, right? It
Yeah.
becomes meditative
Yeah.
for you. It turns off the
Oh
creativity.
yeah.
I would imagine that
Yeah.
having to help somebody else's tour, somebody else's creativity would probably tune yours down a little bit. So take your mind off of it, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It gives me now being with them, I drive, not only do I manage, I drive the bus, I do all that stuff. And it does give me, and like, I'm a fisher, I'm a hunter, I do all that stuff too. But um, there's a lot of times where, like, when I try and go to sleep and I can't, my mind will not shut off. But when I'm managing a tour, or I'm fishing, or I'm in nature, I will hike anywhere. Like, just throw me in the woods and let me go. I'll find my way back. It stops all of the creativity, and I'm like, I can, like, breathe. I could have a moment to myself. And yeah, that's a big help for me too, because my mind is constantly creating, even at night. And
Mhm.
where I didn't sleep at night for a while.
And so not being able to sleep, that's got to put a dampen on being able to write and being able to do things creative, and creativity, period. We need
Yeah,
to sleep to repair everything and
yeah,
kind of recharge. That's the truth, y'all. Sleep is amazing.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love naps when they happen. Let's put it that way. I didn't ever really appreciate naps because I barely got one. I'm just working, 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 working. And I still work a lot, but I'm
Oh yeah,
older and I fall
yeah,
asleep now. Call it narcolepsy if I have to get away with
yep.
it. But anyway, um, I I could imagine that sleeping and slowing down was something that you don't really want to do. You want to
Yeah,
drive off into the sunset, guns blazing, if you will, kind of thing. Right into the vicious
yeah,
edge, and I
yeah,
love that
yeah,
tenacity, which I'm sure
yeah,
was reflected in your book, The Huntress. That
yeah,
tenacity, that kind of
yeah. That
drive.
yeah. So that
Tell me a little
book,
bit more about that.
I actually wrote. Yeah, so that book I actually wrote almost in record time. It's probably the second or third fastest book I've ever written. Where it only took me about 7 weeks, I think, to write. And it all based on the fact that I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, or in that area, and I was angry writing. And when I get angry about uh, things that I have firm beliefs in, I like to write, and that's the way I get it out. So I'm just not, like, raising hell and bitching about stuff. But the Huntress was created based off of Memphis, Tennessee, back in 2018, I believe it was 2017, 2018. They found 20,000 untested rape kits in the basement of the police station in Memphis. And the government came in and was like, why haven't these been tested? And they were like, we just don't have the money. Well, where's the money? We don't know. Well, my own personal thing, and the whole corruption of the Memphis government probably had to do with it. That's my thing. But I ended up writing a book, but I based it out of New Orleans because I didn't really want to go that deep into Memphis with it. But
Hmm.
New Orleans is my second home. My father's from there. So I wrote about a woman who was a vigilante, and how the justice system does not really take care of these offenders. And
Hmm.
so these families would, in my book, these families would call this woman. They had a unknown number. They could call her and say, I want this guy deceased, or I want him taught a lesson or whatever, because this guy sexually assaulted or beat up or did things wrong to my child or whatever. And so she is going after this guy that is, like, really just disgusting, and it reminds her of her own childhood, where she
Hmm.
was also sexually assaulted at a young age. And so she goes to go find this guy, and come to find out, it's a bar. He works at a bar in Bourbon, owns the club down on Bourbon Street, is also kind of mafia style, under the radar, and he's looking for the guy. So there's a big uh you know conflict between the two of them. I'm killing him. And he's like,
Hmm.
I know, I own him. He's my employee. And she's like, oh, yeah, bet. And so it goes through them trying to find this guy and teach him a lesson. And so then
That's
I won't give away spoilers, but you have to read the book too.
I'm
But yeah,
excited to
so
read
I
it.
did. I wrote angry.
Yeah.
I wrote so angry. I was mad. Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
very
as you
mad.
should be. That's 20,000, untested rape kits that just found them their way, accidentally, quote unquote,
Yeah.
into the
And it was,
basement for
yeah,
years. That's not okay.
yeah. for 20 years. It was 20 years worth of untested rape kits. 20 years these women have been waiting and waiting, and they're like, we don't know, we can't find them. 20 years worth of DNA just sitting there in the basement collecting dust.
Think
And
about how
now
many lives
that
that
made me
destroyed
mad.
or didn't,
Oh
you
God!
know?
Not only just the woman, yeah, not just the woman themselves, but their families, their
Hmm.
her relationship, her later on relationships. She couldn't try. I mean, just it's a spiral effect, and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, that oh God, that angers me so bad.
Well, let's change the rudder, and kind of go in a different direction. I feel
Okay.
that,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Let's go.
it's. I hope it's a good book. It's got a
Yeah,
enough emotion to it. There was a subscription box
yeah,
you had actually told me about that bought 1,000 copies.
yeah.
That's coming out soon. That's coming out next
Yeah.
year, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, Romance Reveal Box asked for 1,000 copies of the Huntress,
Ooh.
and they will be putting it out probably in the March and April boxes. So, Romance Reveal Box, if you look them up and subscribe, if you subscribe to them, you'll be getting a copy of it. And I'm going to have some special little extras made to toss in the box to have some little swag and keychains or whatever. I haven't decided on what to send yet, but you're going to get some
Is
extra
that?
goodies from me.
We've
Hell yeah.
talked a little bit about growing up, living off the land. You had made mention along the way that you were, married you married a military man, and then you were on the move. Phoenix,
Yeah.
Arizona
Yeah.
was a place in particular you were talking about.
Yes.
Why is Phoenix important?
Yeah. Phoenix was um Phoenix was really hit my age, my 20s,
Okay.
and a place where I learned to really find myself. Um I ended up meeting this guy that, I thought he was cool. And he looked really good in a uniform, and I met this guy and I married him, and we traveled the country, and he, deployed, whatever. We had kids, I kind of just became a mom, and I loved it, don't get me wrong, but I felt like something was missing in my life.
Okay.
I went on the straight and narrow. Growing up, I smoked a lot of weed growing up. I did a lot of other drugs, and then when, I
The
did the whole mom thing, and
unmentionables.
growing up, the
Mm.
unmentionables, I
Hmm.
did things that I shouldn't have been doing and things I should have been doing, but, and then, I for the next, 15 years, I grew children like plants. I don't know. I mean, and now that I'm still young, and my life has just completely changed over the last 10 years in more ways than one, like a bunch of ways.
In some great ways, and that's the point. Like, you midnight, if you will, as the manager of a rock band, tour a rock band half the year, and then the other half.
Make some noise for deliciously dope TV. The man with the best meat in Michigan right here. I need everybody's help in the whole room. You guys ready? Hey, 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 hey. Give it to me back. Hey, 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 hey. Now scream.
And then the other half of the
Yeah.
year, you're a USA Today bestseller. You're pumping out books. You've written how many? 50
Yeah.
plus?
55 books that I have published since July 27th of 2013.
How many more
55.
books you think you could publish if you wanted to, though?
Probably another 55. I have
Damn. See,
I have
just
yeah, I have
stacks.
folders. I have folders of Word documents with plotted out ideas with just main points, main points. No like character names or anything. I'll be like female this or male this, but I do. Yeah, I've got probably a good enough. I don't plan on stopping. I love writing, I love creating, and I love telling stories and reaching out to people really through my books. I do get. I've actually talked back kind of to the sexual assault. I've pulled 5 women out of abusive homes over the years, and
Yes,
helped them
good,
get away
good.
and gave them phone numbers to call and places to. As long as I feel like I'm speaking a message, and I want that message to be
Kind of storyteller
integrity
you are.
and
Now, it's interesting
to
because
yeah.
some of the best storytellers are from Tornado Valley. You know what I'm saying? In America here.
I know.
Y-
Yeah.
some of the best songwriters, even, it's just got to be something in the
Oh yeah.
water there. You
And
said
I
that
could
you smoked
probably
growing up and
attest.
things of that
Yeah.
nature. You went on the straight and narrow, and then we had talked about there was an accident around the time that you started writing with your neck,
Yeah.
and then you didn't want to use pills. Now, I kind of
Yeah.
don't want to harp on ad nauseum about it anymore, but I would like to kind of reiterate for those people just tuning in or, whatever, but I think it's worth mentioning again, at the very least. Why didn't you want to go the pharmaceutical route after your injuries?
Okay. So, I had a one person car accident,
Hmm.
and for 8 years there, I was in so much pain, and I couldn't get doctors to listen to me. They're just like whatever, blah blah blah, and I ended up doing getting a pain pill from some friends, and it literally obliterated my pain. Like it felt like for 8 years, I felt like somebody taking a crowbar to the back of my head.
Mm.
Well, I started buying them, and thankfully, I was smart enough that I realized that hey, you're getting addicted to this. You need to stop. So I had to literally fight my doctors and got an MRI and found out that my whole cervical spine is just crumbling from that wreck. And they first thing they wanted to do was put me back on pain pills, and I said no, I'm not strong enough for that. I can't do it.
Hmm.
And I found that taking edibles. I'm not a big weed smoker. I mean, I will, but
Right.
edibles for me a little bit easier for me because of the pain and being like we were talking about sleeping. I would sleep probably 4 hours a night, waking up every hour or so, and I have found that taking edibles restored my faith in the fact that I could sleep and wake up and be ready to actually slay the next day. Because there's some nights that I couldn't sleep at all, and I would have to write a book today. I have to write at least 3 chapters in a book, and I couldn't do it because I was so exhausted and in so much pain. But I've found that taking edibles instead of pharmaceuticals has completely um, changed my way of life and completely. It's so different than it was. I mean, I'm 48. Back in the day when I was 16, this is different weed from what we had back, when we were kids. Lot different, way different. So yes, I can actually medicate myself and actually function as a normal human being
Hmm.
just because of marijuana and because of cannabis. And I am completely and utterly just an advocate now. I mean, I was like before. I was like, yeah, if you want to smoke weed, that's cool. I mean, you're fine. I don't care. I would
Hmm.
just wasn't doing it.
Right.
But I didn't know that. I did not know that the advocacy like you were doing
Hmm.
about it 8, 10 years ago. It was barely legal in Colorado and Washington.
Hmm.
8, 10 years ago was. So there was no. And about the after that time is when people started talking about their with seizures and stuff, and it was helping them.
Hmm.
And so I've been watching and reading and watching and reading and watching and reading, and then I found out that this might be something for myself, and I tried it, and now I am 100% full on board with it.
I mean, that's the truth of it. Like, oh, okay, so let me break it down real simple for people, listening and tuning in. Okay, cannabis is what you want pharmaceutical drugs to be. Let me explain.
Yeah.
We expect my back hurts, give me a pill, I pop the pill, pain goes away. Very short and simple. What they don't tell you is, okay,
Yeah.
you're going to want more and more and more and more and more of those pills because your body is
Yeah.
flushing it out because it's a poison,
Yeah.
okay? These pills, you take one and you want it to happen instantly. Well, it's curious because that's what cannabis does. Whereas, yes, you may notice the first time that Valium does work as a muscle relaxer. Take too many of them, you're not going to wake up.
Yeah.
Okay? Smoke too
Yeah.
much weed,
Exactly. Yeah.
you're going to eat a loaf of bread. You know,
Exactly.
it's
With butter.
that's the truth. Right,
Yeah.
with butter.
Well,
You know,
and I agree. I agree totally because with my addiction to pain pill, begging for help, and which I couldn't get through my medical system, that I think the day that I realized, hey, you might be getting addicted to these, was the day that I woke up and realized I had half of a pill left, and I broke out in sweats, and I was like, I'm going to be in pain. I can't be in pain. I can't be in pain. And then I didn't get any more pills. I'm like, I'm not going to do this. And then the withdrawal symptoms will literally, and my best friend, my best friend since that time is a nurse. And she said, getting off of those pills, you have to go through a system. There's a system of detoxing. And she said, it would have killed you. And I was like, I wasn't about to tell anybody I was addicted to these things. And
right.
so
They'll
now
red
I'm
flag
just like,
you
no,
real
I'm not going
quick.
to take them. And I've been going to I say pain clinic. It is a pain clinic, but they not only give you pain pills, but they do injections into the joints. I mean, it's
Physical therapy
not
in
just
some
a, hey,
cases.
listen.
Right.
And they still, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do all of it because I would rather do that than, and look, I know you're hurting and I know that, but I literally have trained my brain, and I think that's part of my control. I have control issues, obviously, terribly, because, I run a business. But I've trained my brain that I will not take a pain pill unless I am physically cut open.
Yeah.
But I have literally, I've been clean off of prescription pain meds for 8 years. And the only
Congratulations.
time I ever take them is, thank you. Only time I take them is if literally in my brain is, if they cut me open, then I'm going to take them. And then I know that they give you so many pills, for your recovery. And ever since then, once I got my brain trained to that, I haven't had any cravings. I don't get that
Urge.
like an alcohol craves alcohol, or you don't get that I need it. You wean yourself off as a doctor, follow doctors. It works fine. Granted, pain pills work fine. I mean, literally, if they cut you open, you're gonna need them.
That's trauma.
But other than that, I just refuse to do anything other than what I have to do. But I take all of these prescriptions, and none of them are a controlled substance. I take I do a lot of vitamins. I do my cannabis at night. And I have learned to listen to my body. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand, especially people who are against the whole, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, weed's legal. That's not it. It's, they're black and white with it, and they don't understand it because either they've never done it or they just have grown up thinking, that's bad. That's an illegal drug,
Right. Right. There's still
and
a stigma.
there's still a stigma. And I'm pretty sure even if the federal laws are lifted and every state has it, there's still going to be stigma, just like alcohol's legal. There's still a stigma on people who like to go out and party and get drunk. There's always going to be a stigma. But I think with education, I think it might lessen the blow.
Well, I mean, let's riff off that real quick. I think let's look at it this way. Okay, so from 1937 until let's say 2007 is when the first cases of Michigan were medical and stuff.
Yeah.
1998 was when California went legal. They were technically the first, of course.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
Colorado, I think Michigan, and then, you know, so on and so forth. I could be wrong there, but the idea is legalization, okay? Before that,
Yeah.
you had all those years of the DARE program and the indoctrination of telling people that weed and alcohol and everything is bad. Okay, what you're
Oh yeah.
doing right there, is brainwashing kids because
Oh yeah.
in that class they're like, hey, ask questions, but don't ask these. Hey, ask
Oh
questions,
yeah.
but don't ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like. At one point in time, I remembered, you know, because I, you know, grew up in a restaurant. If you work
Yeah.
in the back of the house, you're gonna smell like cigarettes because it smelled like cigarettes. You could still smoke. That's the
Yeah.
truth, okay? I smelled
Yeah.
like cigarettes in school. In a DARE class, a cop asked me, "Hey, come here," and started asking me all these questions. I do not remember the questions, but I remember that there was an issue. My mom got called to school. Then there wasn't an issue. What was the issue?
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's all I remember. That, and I ratted my mom out for having drugs because, well, I thought cigarettes were drugs. I was in third grade. They were like, yo, these are
Oh.
drugs. I was like, guess what? That bitch
Oh.
told me no this morning. She's going down.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that was
gosh. She's
terrible.
going down.
They thought
Oh
it was
yeah.
funny. And then come to
Well.
find out,
Yeah.
at the end of that, they didn't really raid my mom. They came over to look, you know what I mean? Because it's a
Yeah.
small town in
Oh my
Tennessee. At
God.
that point in time, you know, my
Yeah.
mom knew the fucking
I
cop
know.
anyway.
I know where you're from. I know what small town you're talking about too. So yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But you know what?
So we
Two
just had a
things I gotta
nice little
say.
meeting.
Yeah, well, the two
Yeah.
things about the whole DARE program. First of all,
Oh.
um, DARE program, and I've talked to many a kids that, you know, I like I said, I'm 48, so in the 80s or whatever, we had the DARE program. That's what
Mhm.
got people. That's what got us doing drugs. Was that whole
Well,
DARE
yeah.
program? Because we're like, well, this shit sounds great,
Yeah.
you know. And then another thing was it's an old video. It's probably about 10 years old now, and they're talking about how the DARE program and how uh, the illegalization of marijuana came about
Mhm.
because of taxation. And there's this whole thing on it.
Mhm.
And I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he went in and he talks about how like the DARE program and it was all just basically a hoax because they had no way to tax it back then, and so
Mhm.
they just told everybody it was bad.
I mean,
You know,
so you have
yeah.
that, and then there's, you know, different stories of racial connotations. You know, at this
Oh,
point,
totally. Yeah.
you've heard so many true and false statements about it that you just tie it up to it shouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? So if we're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at it
Yeah.
on the great, we'll look at it as a stain. Let's put it as, let's call it a stain because it is a fucking stain.
Yep.
You're
It
gonna
is.
have to wash it more than once for it to come out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's and you gotta let it soak and shit. So let's say that legalization just happened, you know, 10 years ago. We're gonna see this stigmas kind of still the stain stick around for the next decade. We're good this, but it's what we do now,
Oh, yeah.
educational wise, that helps that stain
Mm-hmm.
wash out of the genes. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Exactly.
way I see
And
it.
I think that, yeah, and I see it as is that the government, they did it wrong, and that's their
Hmm.
way of
Hmm.
not taking responsibility for doing it wrong.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, this all could have been as legal as alcohol since the great, you know, if
Hmm.
it was done properly. And
Hmm.
with education, you already know this. Marijuana has been, and you know, cannabis and all strains and everything has been studied for many, many years, not just in the last, what, 20. This has been
Hmm.
studied for ever
There's
since
patents on
science was
this.
able to start. Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
You know, and you know, the thing is once the truth will set you free type thing.
Hmm.
You know, once everybody starts learning the medical benefits of it, then hopefully it will change the way things are looked at. And I agree. I agree. And like I said, I'm not a big smoker, but I'm a big advocate. I do it for medical reasons.
Hmm.
Um, I don't care. I like I said, and the one problem I have is I cannot smoke or take an edible or anything and write
Okay.
because to me that is my pain relief medicine. So literally, like when I take it, I just want to be like, or it's chill time. I don't want to create. It's
I see.
another
I
thing
find
that
that
helps me. Like,
fascinating.
yeah, and see, everybody I know that is an artistic and creative
Uh-huh.
person is like, smoke. Let's smoke. We can, we can bust out, write songs. We can write that. I'm like, not me. I'm gonna be laying sideways in the chair and be like, I need to take a nap. It just does not affect me that way, but it affects me in the way that I need it.
Hmm.
I am cool with that. I am totally cool with that.
Dude, I'm good with that. Like,
And
it's,
everybody,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was about to say everybody's affected differently, just like with pharmaceuticals. Everybody
Hmm.
reacts differently. And the same thing with cannabis.
Same thing with coffee.
Oh, true.
You
Yeah.
know, that's the thing. People react to things differently. Those kids growing up in school, we were like, "Hey, man, I'm getting a coffee to everybody. You want one?" You're like, "No, I'm sensitive to caffeine." They weren't just saying that. They could not sleep for 3 days. It's very possible,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I need to coffee to sleep. But well, it's interesting because I'm the other end of that spectrum because I overindulge sometimes. I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
To free my thoughts so I can dump
Yeah.
those explanatives in my mind on paper. You know,
Good.
uh,
Yeah.
it helps. But at the same
Yeah.
time you're not doing anything wrong, and that's what I want people to really take away from the situation. It's whether you tell somebody they can't smoke weed or you tell them they can, they're going to do it regardless. It doesn't matter whether it's legal
Yeah.
or illegal. They're going to do it.
Yep.
And for people to sit here and tell you that they haven't even at least thought about it, I feel bad for those people. Okay. I feel bad for those
Yeah.
people because
Yeah.
there's so much more to life that you're missing out on besides smoking weed.
Yep.
You've done all of that, but you don't want to smoke. You're doing it wrong. That's the point. Now,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
how are you
Everybody's
going to?
body chemistry is different. And for those people who are want to experiment, try, even people, new, you'll find a way, you'll find what works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then I'm not mad at you.
Mm-mm.
I'm not, I mean, there's no reason, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But if you really want, like I did, I tried it for pain relief because I just there was more research for it than there was negative. I mean, there was like 90% positive, 10% negative. And I was like, I cannot not try this. And so I did. And now, I mean, I'm just like, my whole way of life is better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's totally just changed me.
Let's put it this way. And this is a sad, sad statistic, but I'm doing it to set an example. All right. I want you to think about, the 45 minutes we've been doing this show so far and how many people worldwide in 45 minutes have overdosed on marijuana. I want you to think about that real quick.
See,
The answer is zero,
I'll
but
take
some people need to think.
zero.
Some people need to think
Oh,
about it
yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
same time, I want you to think about in that 45 minutes, how many people have overdosed on another drug or died from alcoholism or something of that nature.
No.
Those numbers are
Thousands.
much higher.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then
Oh, yeah.
how come you can get as much alcohol as you can possibly fucking purchase money? You can go
Yeah.
fill trucks upon trucks at party stores with alcohol. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing against a good beer,
Yeah.
but you don't need 59 fucking bottles of liquor, Johnny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you don't
exactly.
need, 7 kegs for a birthday party for a 5-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Well,
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah. And I was saying, we have all, at some point, been that drunk teenager in a field somewhere
More
going, oh
than
my God,
once.
I literally at 17, oh yeah, at 17,
Yeah.
I got alcohol poisoning so bad from drinking
Mm.
vodka that still at 48 years old, I don't drink vodka. and like to have died.
Mm.
You know, I wouldn't have done that if I had been smoking, you know, all night. But no, I drank way too many screwdrivers when I was 17 and literally almost died in a field. You
Mm.
know, and yeah,
You know,
it's crazy. It's yeah. It
I
there
like the
needs to
term
be a
couch
change.
locked because if I tell you, and it's funny because if we're sitting here talking about, you know, let's say you worked with me and I was like, you were a coworker, you're like, hey man, why didn't you answer your phone last night? Be like, bro, I was couch locked. That's all you gotta say. It's become a new,
Oh yeah,
verb
I
and
like
reference
that.
point,
Yeah.
to the point where like I was couch locked. What I'm trying to tell you is I smoked weed, but that accidentally may have led to an ADD paralysis for me. You know what I'm saying? But don't
Yes.
worry, I'm fine. I'm just kind of
Well.
checked out and like,
Yep.
calmly just
Yeah.
chilling. I couldn't be
Yeah.
bothered with social media. You know,
Well. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they'll bitch about how you were scrolling through Instagram, but like, yo, how you stalking me right now is really what. I'm just kidding, but.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Next, I was just telling my
Hmm.
husband about this like 2 nights ago. I took my nighttime medicine, my
Hmm.
gummy, a little early because I was like, I'm just going to go lay in the bed and scroll through, you know, TikTok
Let's go.
or play
Let's go.
a game or whatever. And I literally I was so
You're all right.
just
You're all right.
deadlocked.
I would have
Yeah,
probably.
no, yeah, I did. Dude, I got fucking just ripped. It was just like, oh my God, I need to either go to sleep or get some water. And I was like, my legs don't work. I'm just going to stay in the bed and have dry mouth.
I've
Yeah.
done that. I've had a Flores lava moment more than once. You know what
Man.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You're
But
just
it's the
like,
same
is
time.
it
It's like
worth it?
it's that ADD in you. You get that
Oh yeah.
paralysis. You're like, I'm fine. I'm safe.
Oh yeah.
But like my
Yeah.
agoraphobia is like intermittent at
Oh
this
yeah.
point. I
Yeah.
have a pretty decent sized bubble, and for reference,
Yeah.
it's Jake Gyllenhaal in the Bubble Boy. If you are inside of that, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
I kid, but
Exactly.
you know,
No, but
sometimes you need that arm space. Sometimes you need
yeah,
that
I do.
social
Yeah.
distancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to be alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to just accept what's going on and just absorb it and just, you know, I mean, I've done that on tour where I just days off, I took a gummy, I went and laid down in my bunk for 4 hours. And the guys were like, where you been? I was like, I was high and I was just being quiet because I didn't want to talk to anybody. And they're
Hmm.
just like, why? I'm like, because that's why I do it. So yeah, but yeah, it's just like leave me
I'm
alone.
sorry. I laugh because I could. When you say that, it's like, damn, that's how the argument went because I know them and that's exactly what they fucking
Yeah,
said.
yeah. They're like, why didn't you come hang out with us when you were high? I was like, because I didn't want to. You know, because all you're doing is playing video games I don't want to watch. I just want to be quiet. I just want to be left alone. I mean, literally, I'm in charge of, you know, 5 band members and you know, another guy all day long, and it's just me. And I'm just like, I want to be left alone. You know, yeah. So, and they're just like, but why? No, no, no. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I just love getting. You know, I'll take my little medication gummy there and be like, leave me alone. I do, but yes, no, I do. I enjoy alone time very much, especially on tour
Oh
because I
man, they,
never
they
get it.
love you so much. That's the thing.
They better.
It's
They better. No. I do. I
listen.
love them to death.
I've got
Uh,
video evidence of this. I
oh
do,
no.
and it was
Yes.
just. I'm just
There's like 7 scenarios going through my head right now of what
Yep.
videos you have.
Yep.
So yeah, and every one of them, I'm just like, well, okay, yep, all right, yeah. God
Well,
bless them.
so let's talk about that just real quick.
Yeah.
Y'all played a show here in Okemos, Michigan. Double Clutch
Yes.
Lounge. Huge shout out
Yes.
to them.
Love that place.
Amazing place. The boys got to
Yeah.
ride go karts. That was amazing. Rage Room was fun.
Oh
Whatever
yeah.
that dart gun shit. I don't remember what that was.
It was like gel BB things, and
Yeah.
I went in to go videotape, and Steve, our drummer, lit me up like I was, you know, like the Viet Cong, like, you know, I mean, he was just like,
I was in the moment.
oh, I was like, ow, ow, ow,
Oh.
ow, ow, as I was running through the thing, which was totally, sorry, don't say, double clutch. Let's put an asterisk by that. I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be in there, but, wasn't supposed to be in there without the gear. But yeah, no, it was fun. That place is amazing.
Hmm.
Absolutely. If you're in the Lansing area, that place is a number one you've got to go do.
Take a
It's
gummy
just, yeah,
and,
it's a
and go
grown
there.
up, Chuck E. Cheese on steroids.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it was amazing. You and I were running all over the place, trying to video and take pictures and yeah. So you got a taste of what I have to deal
Hmm.
with on a daily. Yeah, yeah, every
See,
day.
they don't make it easy for us. And
Mm-mm.
it is what it is. I actually might be able to find a real quick video I can share with you. I can cut this out, not an issue. But I might be able to play it on screen if it'll fucking load. It's being dumb. Let's see what we got here.
I got
Oh,
one of the
I took so
rage
many.
room that was good. Yeah, you took a ton,
Here's
just like I did.
the throwing
Go for it.
axes, I want to say.
Eight.
Yeah, they really
They
liked that.
that yeah. Let's just give a bunch of grown ass children axes and say throw them at this wall. Yeah, it was
Oh, they thought it
great.
was the coolest thing in the world. They're like, "Fuck yeah, let's. Why aren't we doing more of this?"
Absolutely. They were all talking about the go karts, and I'm like, they have a throwing axe room, and they're like,
Hmm.
Teresa. I'm like, let me go throw an axe. They're like, okay, are we sure we want to let her do this? I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go throw an axe. But yeah,
There
no,
is
that
one
was
thing I
fun.
want to make mention of. You
Yeah.
could totally take an edible and go throw an axe. It's not a huge issue. The reason I say that is because they'll let you buy as much beer as you want while doing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, they had
Love
what
them, but that's the
three
truth.
three bars, three
Hmm.
bars like going full strong. All
Hmm.
bowling, music, axe throwing,
Go
freaking
karts and an
obstacle course, go
arcade.
kart, arcades. I mean,
Hmm.
it was that place is amazing. We definitely want to come back for sure.
They want you there. I've talked to everybody over there, and they were
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
good.
it's happening again." I was like, "With the
Yeah.
go karts?" They're like, "Yes."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely
But I mean,
yes.
and it's the kind of like lifestyle that we're trying to enrich. Be it cannabis, be it go karts, music, culture, food. In this case, books.
Everything. Yes.
We want to make these things better for not only our lives to continue,
Mhm.
but for people around us. And
Yeah.
it does prove that people can change.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
yourself didn't want to go back to pharmaceuticals, so you were
Yep.
basically, if you were, for all intents and purposes, breaking the law, if you will, in order
Yeah.
to feel
Yeah.
better. But it
Yeah.
worked. But you weren't, distributing it to anybody else. You were
No, yeah.
using it for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. I was,
Hmm.
medicating myself for my own health
Hmm.
because I couldn't get doctors to listen to me. And then when they finally did, they're like, oh my God, you are in bad shape. I'm
Hmm.
like, that's what I've been saying.
Hmm.
And, it took me literally, and, I hate to say this on camera, but I literally had to tell the doctor after 8 years, if you do not get me into an MRI and figure out what's wrong with me, that I will probably go home and not be alive in the next week. And they're like, okay, well,
It's
let's go. Yeah.
sad that you had to go that far.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's a part of devastation, or desperation, excuse me. But
Yeah.
and it's devastating that it had to go that far.
Yeah.
What does your doctor say now that you finally found one that listens to you? What do they say
Uh,
about your cannabis use?
they are fine with it.
Okay.
They just want to know so that if they do prescribe me with a new nerve medicine or
Or
something,
something. Right,
that
right.
it's not something that would interact with my cannabis
Okay.
use. They did ask how much I take, and I'm like, I'm not doing a lot. This is what I told them what my routine was, and they're cool with it.
Hmm.
They're fine with it. And the doctor, the ones that would prescribe my pain pills, was like, you know what? If that's what works for you, then that's what you need to do. She's like, I'm not going to stop you from it. She was like, the rules and the laws and all that stuff, we just now got medical,
Hmm.
which I am pursuing that
Getting your
once
card, right?
January 1st. Yeah,
Okay.
when January 1st, when everything comes into, starts going January 1st. But yeah, I tell them, Straight up tell them, because I'm not on any medication that would hinder me from taking a medication that I do need
Mhm.
because of my cannabis use.
Mhm.
So, and I will tell you right now, and I've heard it a million times over from doctors, and even I'm having surgery next week for my spine again. They just want to know if you're taking cannabis so that they know what type of medicine to adjust when they're putting you to sleep for a surgery,
Correct.
to make sure,
They're
I
being
smoke
responsible.
weed. They're very, yeah,
Mhm.
because, they know that some of the stuff that we can't even pronounce that they give you, for
Mhm.
surgery or whatever. Some of that does interact with cannabis, and they just
Mhm.
want to know that so that they don't have a surprise like, oh my gosh, this person, is having shortness of breath. Why, she shouldn't be. But they didn't know that, say, that I had cannabis the night before, it was in my system or whatever.
Mhm.
They just want to know. That's all they do.
Mhm. Mhm.
They are not going to call the feds on you because smoked weed 2 nights ago.
You want to know how I know that doctors aren't going to narc to a cop?
Hmm.
They might like each other. They're both civil workers, but the two don't really get along, and here's why. A cop will ask you, well, how many marijuanas did you smoke? Which is
Oh
very
yeah.
similar to what a doctor would say, how many units did you administer? You know,
Yeah.
and so that's how
Yeah.
you can kind of tell that the two don't talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at
Oh
the
yeah.
same time, that's not the proper, verbiage, but I digress.
Oh yeah. Well, I get it. I do get it, because my what I hate to call it my pain doctor, but that's what they
Mhm.
literally call them. They're the ones, like I said, that administer, where they
The
actually literally
injections and
stick
stuff, right?
rods. They
Hmm.
put rods
Mm.
into my joints and deliver medicine into it to kill the nerves.
Mm.
But they are also the ones that are allowed to give you pain medicine. But even she is like, she knows, she has
Mhm.
studied it. She studied cannabis use in pain patients, and she knows. And she knows that when they asked me, if, said that I qualified to go onto a contract to take pain pills, and I said, you can take it, shove it up your ass. I ain't taking it.
Mhm.
And she was like, okay, well, why? And so I said, all right, you want to get down to brass tacks? Let's go. And I did. And I told her about it. And she was like, you know what? You have taken your health back.
Mhm.
She said, you've taken your health back. And I said, yeah, I know. So now when I go for MRIs or x-rays or any type of imaging, I make them let me take a photo, or I make them give me a CD with my images
A
on it.
copy of, right, right.
Yeah, and a lot of them will not let you, but you throw into the fact that this is my body, it
Hmm.
is my choice, and I need to know what's going on, and I need to see it. And they
Correct.
cannot deny
They can't
you. They
deny
will
that.
try.
Hmm.
They will try. They will try all day long because of
Hmm.
medical malpractice and all that stuff. But no, everybody that I have a whole team, which is about 6 different doctors and imaging places. They know as soon as I walk in, they're like, "There's Miss Teresa. She wants to know everything." And
And
I
you have the
did, but I
right
did
to.
that. Yeah, and I
Hmm.
didn't go in there haphazardly.
Hmm.
I went in with full knowledge and saying that, I know what my body needs, and I know what's wrong, and I want to see it, because that is knowledge is 100% of what people need for any type of medical cannabis, anything really. You need 100% in your body. It's your body. It is your pain. It is your disease. It is your
Hmm.
condition. It is your job to advocate for yourself. And I am a
Absolutely.
firm believer.
Moving from the advocacy a little bit, I want to talk
Mm,
about the author in you. I feel, back when you started writing,
yeah.
things changed you. The car accident obviously
Oh
changed
yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
I feel, using cannabis has changed you in
Oh
in
yeah.
in some good ways, a lot of good
Yeah.
ways. Um, do you think that has overall changed the way that you write or the reason that you write now?
Hmm. Yeah. I do believe that because my pain is under control, that I'm not very so erratic in my writing, that I have been able to, because my days are a lot easier, because I'm able to sleep, and I'm pain. I'm a little bit. I mean, I've still got pain. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I'm constantly in pain, but I have actually controlled my pain enough that when I do sit down to write, that it's not so erratic that I can dive deeper into my characters that I'm creating
Okay.
and their issues. It's easier for me to understand and you know, give them the proper, you know, story
Hmm.
that you know, and I firmly believe that the cannabis has calmed me down. You know, I'm naturally have anxiety, you know, depression, obviously because of all the stuff I've been through. But um, with the cannabis and stuff, and then waking up in the morning, even though I'm not partaking in the mornings, it seems to like my mornings are just they flow easier.
Hmm.
Things are just not so hectic in my head. And I think it's allowing me to give my characters more credit and more
Okay.
time to express themselves.
I could see that. You know,
Yeah.
so the reality of emotions is that they're rigid, and sometimes
Hmm.
those rigid things don't want to slide through, you know, the puzzle piece or the tunnel. And so, you
Yeah.
know, by able, you know, using cannabis, you curb those a little bit, you know, and pain, if you will, helps
Yeah.
curb those and allows it
Yeah.
to fit, to move freely, if you will. I like that. I dig that.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
it's worth advocating for. I think that it's worth smoking, because, you know,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's worth it.
I
But
mean, I'm not saying that I don't smoke. I just don't. That's not my
edibles,
preferred.
right?
Yeah, I would prefer to do
What
edibles.
about
Now I will
tinctures?
smoke. Oh God, yeah. Oh, I've got some amazing muscle rub.
Hmm.
That boy, well, I tell you what, if I have a bad night, I'm like gooping. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna rub it on. Oh yeah, that makes a hell of a difference. The
Hmm.
tinctures are amazing,
Hmm.
and that was one of the big things that I was like, how, like you know how icy hot works. I mean, you
Correct.
know, it's like okay, but to me, icy hot was always the whole like it was making the cold sensation on your skin to make you forget about what was really going on down deep.
Right.
You know, that was my whole thing. But once I started using the THC tinctures and the muscle rubs and things like that,
Hmm.
and I was like, holy crap, it's not because you're not getting all that mentholatum,
Hmm. Hmm.
like Vicks vapor rub, stuff going on. I mean,
Which is,
yes,
by
there's
the
some
way,
in
is
there.
extremely bad for you.
Oh, totally bad for you, especially when your grandmother, like mine, used to make you eat it when you had the
Yeah.
croupy cough, thinking it would
So it
help.
wasn't just
But
you. It wasn't just
southern,
you. Okay.
it's
Hmm.
southern grandmas. But yeah, and I was like, oh my god, this like I'd be like, I can move my neck, like I've got
Hmm.
more range. Okay, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try it again. Maybe it was just a fluke. And now I'm totally addicted. Totally like give me all of the salve, all the yeah. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And actually, I had even the CBD stuff because I know that we had used some CBD stuff that you had at your
Hmm.
house. Worked great
Hmm.
on because I was having problems with arthritis in my hands, and I had gotten some stuff back in Vegas a few years ago that my son burned his hand at work because he was a cook.
Right.
One of his first jobs was cooking at a fast food restaurant, and he was like, "Where's that CBD stuff you got from Vegas?"
Hmm.
He goes, "Doesn't it say it's good for burns?" And I was like, I pulled out the tube. It
Yep.
looks like a big old fat thing of chapstick,
Hmm.
and it said good for burns. That child put that on that burn,
Hmm.
and by the next afternoon, that burn had gone down by about 75%.
Hmm.
I was like, "Holy crap!"
Hmm.
I mean, it was one of those big, like, I touched a hot pan straight out of a broiler, like blister.
Ouch.
Yeah, you
I
know what
want to
I'm
do that
talking
again.
about, like that. Oh yeah. I mean, I got one working at Subway taking the bread out of the oven when I was in high school. I mean, I know, and it did.
I
It cleared up. He has no scar from it. He used it for 2 days.
whew,
No scar, no
hell
scar.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of scars, but I have this weird talent, and most of my cooks will know. Most of my chef friends will know. Writers, not so much, but I've burnt the sensitivity out of my hands, and it's kind of
So,
lasted.
I mean, I'm a writer and everything, but I'm also with my
You work
hunting
with
and
your
fishing
hands,
stuff.
yeah.
Work with my hands. I'm
Hmm.
also, I'm a fly by night, backwoods country mom cook. And I have definitely
Hmm.
put my battered fingers straight down into, oil to like putting that battered fish down in that fried oil and just take your whole fingers, the whole tips, and have no problem with it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
So
just
to me and you,
the
that's normal
sensitivity is gone. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
to me and
that's
you.
just, yeah, I'm just like, oh yeah. And everybody's like, oh my God, you put your fingers in the oil. I'm like, yeah. And then you just go take a paper towel and wipe off the rest of the
Yeah.
batter, and you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm good. Next piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Done that.
My best friend
Yeah.
came to stay for a weekend a couple of weeks back, and we ordered we were instead of ordering pizza, we did some DiGiorno's, and it's just like delivery, just cheaper.
Oh yeah.
So we did it. We doctor him up, obviously. I think we put chicken on it and
Oh
you
yeah.
know something. But anyways, you put them in the oven and you heat them up. Duh. Very
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Those same cook and chef friends I was just talking about, y'all ain't listening right now. Pretend you ain't listening, but DiGiorno pizza in the oven,
No.
and it's done. And he's trying. We were opening the oven. I was like, all right, man, get it out of there. He's like, oh no, no. I'm like, no, just go ahead and pull it out. He's like, no, no. I'm like, watch. I literally just grabbed the pizza and set him out. And he's just losing his mind. Like, he's like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, dude, look, nothing. I was like, nothing
Nothing.
wrong.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yep. It's
how is
like
that
a
possible? I was
callus.
like,
Yep. It
I'm gonna
is.
tell
It's
you
like
how.
a callus.
Well, I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you how.
Yeah.
Just because your oven is at 400 degrees does not mean the pizza is at 400 degrees.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your
yeah.
pizza is maybe at 200 degrees, if that, depending,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. How long, blah, blah, blah. My point, okay, it's not that much hotter than your fingers. If you get used to touching hot shit all the time, you're not
Yep.
going to feel it.
Yeah.
So
Oh
what
yeah.
people get hung up on is they think that it's 400 degrees. It's
No,
not.
it's not. No. Yeah.
Looks cool.
Same. Oh yeah,
You
it
know?
looks cool. Yeah, everybody's like, oh my God. Yeah.
I feel like it's the
So
same sentiment behind these moon rocks that I'm seeing in dispensaries now. A moon rock, for those of you who don't know, is a nug of weed dipped in or covered in distillate and then covered in keef.
oh my God.
It's the dumbest thing ever. People swear by these. You're smoking distillate. I mean, you're ruining anything that nug could have had.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
But fine, so be it. Call it a moon rock. You're an idiot. Anyway.
It's a marketing thing. I mean, even you know, they gotta make the money somehow.
It is what it is. Speaking of making money, you've got the Huntress, going out to 1,000 subscription boxes. It was like, what was it, February, March next year?
Yes, probably like March and April. I think they're gonna split them over the 2 months.
Okay, I mean, still,
Yeah.
that's 1,000 copies of just the Huntress alone. You've got 50 plus other books that you've just published.
Yeah.
50 more you said in reserve that you're working on. Then when you're not doing that, you're with the boys on tour.
Yeah, and I do try to write on tour, but usually I don't. I don't get much done. I don't.
I mean, you get a lot done, honestly, from what I'm looking at, from my perspective. But
I don't know if you can hear me, but my AirPods died.
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, they just finally were just like, no, I'm done.
I'm going to get new ones, I hope. It's that or something else. But, I find that to you, years ago, becoming a USA Today bestseller was a dream. It was an aspiration. Now it's just another accolade. You're like, yeah, I've already done that.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, been there, done that, won the t-shirt, right?
Mine's been there, done that, wrote the book.
There you go. And then use the pain solve to kind of soften the blow. But
yeah.
I like it, man. I see the addiction in writing. I see the addiction of writing. I see the addiction of emotion, the extremes. I see it all there. I hope to see even more. I'm excited to get my hands on, and I really do hope that you send me a copy of the Huntress. I really do want that.
Send you some books. I'm gonna send you a little package.
because I'll read them, and I'll tell you what I think. I'm just gonna be like, all right, I like this one over this one. I'll admit, but that's the
Okay.
truth of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not a person to kind of bite my tongue because I don't like the taste of my own blood.
Yeah, exactly. I am very, very open,
Mm-hmm.
because us authors, we stick together. And
Mm-hmm.
when one of my friends, I've got a friend group, if they're having problems, I'm like, send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've told you this. Send me a
Mm-hmm.
chapter. Let me look at it. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as I get time, I will look at it. Or if they're like, I'm having a problem trying to figure out what this character is going to do. Can I talk it out with you? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
heck yeah, let's talk it out. Things like that. And you have to have a
Soundboard.
um, it's a sounding board and a team of people
Mm-hmm.
that you trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken me 10 years, but I've got a whole team of people that work for me, and I have a team of authors that we bounce ideas off of. And
Mm-hmm.
if somebody knows or reads an article that might be good for the following year, like what might be hot, we send it to each other and
Mm-hmm.
we plan that.
I love that. It's a community, and it's interesting to know that you're the citizen of numerous communities, which is the brilliant thing, and I
Yeah,
think that adds to a complexity of your character. And it's
yeah,
in that caricature that we find that, upon viewing it in retrospect and looking on the outside, we find that, as the Lion in an Artifice song would say, it's a perfect image shattered in its frame. It's not, though. It's a permanent. In your case, it's iconicized in the frame that you've built for it. And
yeah,
what I mean by that is you're allowed to take this creative medium, the picture, if you will, and show it to the public and do numerous different things.
yeah.
It's that hustle.
Yeah. And the thing is, I never pictured myself working in the music industry, even though I was very fascinated with the music industry.
Hmm.
My father was in a rock band back in the late 60s. I kind of grew up, knowing this and that and here and there, but somehow, some way I became best friends with Artifice. And now, I mean, God, I've known them for 8, 9 years now. I mean, I've known them for a long time, and it kind of spiraled into this. And I absolutely love the entertainment industry, is what I kind of like tell my non-book and non-music friends. I was like, it's more entertainment industry because we're basically both the music side and the book
Hmm.
side is entertainment.
Hmm.
And so I never 20 years ago, if somebody said, you're going to be a USA Today bestseller and a tour manager of a rock band, I would have laughed in their face because I'm like, no, but I built this and I learned and I, asked questions and I learned and Artifice, Scotty and Cody and all the guys, Anthony, all them, if I've got a question about anything in the music business, whether it be for a book or for work
Hmm.
with them, they are right there to help me.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for them, I would not be where I'm at today as far as working in the music business.
I think that it goes without saying that music is just a book with noise, if you will.
Mhm.
It's a book of notes and lyrics and things. It's just a book of noise.
And I am a lyric. Sounds weird, but I'm a lyric whore.
Okay.
I may hate a song like the actual music, but there are some songs that like just a lyric
Hmm.
alone will make the hair stand on my arms.
Hmm.
Like I'm like, okay, I don't really care too much for this song, but this lyric, you know, in the chorus or whatever, it just will give me chills.
There's a
But
term for that. I forget what it is. It's like synthesia.
yeah, there's a word for it too, but it's just to me, it's in the book world we call it word porn.
Word porn.
Word porn, because there are sometimes you just put some words together that is so erotic and so like just satisfying that it's like porn. And we call it word porn. I mean, it doesn't have to be sexual.
It's just alliteration.
It's alliteration, and
Hmm.
it will, yeah, we call it word porn,
Hmm.
you know. And yeah, and I love it whether it's in lyric form or in book form.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I'll tell you this, man. Scotty is damn good at what he does. The rest of the boys damn good at what they do. That's
Yep,
and together they do a damn great thing. I
they do.
think that having having you accompanying them, that's happening for a reason, for sure. And all of those things, everything's happening for a reason. To kind of tie it all together. But
Yeah.
I think that we're not going to know that anytime, in the
Mm.
immediate future. I think we have to
I
wait
hope
for it to
so.
play out.
I hope what you're saying is because I would, my wish and dream and goal for them is to see them just, be just huge.
Do what they
Um,
do best.
believe in them, and if us being together is something that's going to work out great. I am a firm believer in fate. I'm not a
Hmm.
very religious person, but I do believe that things happen for a reason, and that that the universe puts people in your path. And what happens with them is, and it goes back to the whole Medea thing, the whole Medea
Hmm.
skit on the roots, the branches, and the tree thing.
Hmm.
That is right there. I live by that.
Okay.
And I believe that those boys are the roots in my life, that they are part of the root system of my life. They're not a branch or a leaf or a twig off of a tree. They are literally part of the root
Well,
system.
how are you going to swing through life? You ain't got a tree to put it in.
I ain't got a damn tree to do shit.
You got all makers and shit too. But I think about it. That's the truth of it, and at the root of a lot of other people's lives, you find music. So I can see how
Yeah.
that carries on tautologically, and I mean. Now the boys can say that they've got a USA Today bestseller as a manager. That is the truth, and that proves that you don't just, if you will, work for them, work with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're doing your own thing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They're fucking
Yeah.
huge fans of it too.
Oh, they are. And Scotty does. I mean, you've been to shows. Scotty
Hmm.
loves to talk about it
Hmm.
from the stage sometimes. And
From the stage sometimes.
yeah, well, I mean, I used to. The first time he did it, when he, was like, this is our tour manager and she's USA Today. I was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? I'm like,
Hmm.
because when I go on tour with them, I literally think of myself as two different people.
Hmm.
Like there's the author me, and then there is the tour manager me.
Right.
And I draw a fine line
Hmm.
between I'm not taking, one or the other with me. Unless somebody asks me about it,
Right.
then, I'm not going to be like, oh, today I'm tour manager. But
Hmm.
no, I mean, I literally, I focus directly on, we're on tour. We've got to, I've got to manage this whole tour and the shows and stuff. And I don't, so when he brings it up, sometimes it'll shock me. I'm like, wait, what, who, me, what, and that's just, I think that goes back to my grandfather teaching me integrity,
Hmm.
and to, and another thing, like the day I published my first book, I was shaking as I hovered over the submit button to send to the publisher. And I stopped myself and I heard my grandfather, he had died years before. And I swear I heard him behind me that says, never change who you are, no matter what happens from this day forward. And I have lived by that I am still the same person as I was before I became who I am.
Stay true to yourself. I don't think that I could have. If there's a note to end on, that is it.
Yeah.
That is
Stay true.
absolutely it. Stay true to yourself.
Yep. And George Albert, God bless him, rest his soul. But
Love
yeah,
it.
he's taught me that. So,
Love
and
it.
I hope and I pray and I, whatever, light a candle, that is the way I'll be for the rest of my life. And I don't plan on changing who I am.
Well, I plan on fucking holding you to that. No warning, there are going to be some wild antics. I don't know what they are yet. The guys and I haven't talked about it. The fact is,
So, I'm planning with them about, I don't know if I want to be a part of that because I all the antics. But no, yeah.
you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be
Yeah.
fine. I really do appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody, go check it out. Look it up now. It's author Theresa. Let me get this right. TheresaHissong.com, right? Okay, cool. I'll have it scrolling down a little bit here. I actually think it was scrolling. Is it? Yes, it is. Ha! See? Found it.
Yep. Yeah. You
So
guys
check that out.
social media, say hi,
Hmm.
email, whatever. We'll be glad to talk to you, especially anybody has questions. Just hit me up.
Yeah, hit her up on social media, man. It's all there. Go check out the Huntress.
Yes.
Go get it. I'm
Yes.
excited to get it.
Yes.
I'm gnarly with that. But all right, y'all, my tokers, my jokers, my smokers. I want to say thank you to Miss Theresa, author, USA Today bestseller, Theresa Hissong.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for coming. I fucking got all baked and just listening to the amount of emotions behind everything you do is just amazing. And again, thank you very much. But all right, y'all, we'll catch you on the flip.
All right.
Peace.